Welcome, 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 You-est You listeners. This is Julie. I am so excited about our guest today. First of all, Nathalie Doremieux has the most beautiful accent. She is from France, and I will tell you more about her, but just get ready to soak in the love. Nathalie is someone very special to me, and I will tell you why. So let me tell you more about Nathalie. Nathalie helps heart-centered women to tune and turn their experience and influence into reoccurring revenues by helping them create and grow online programs that impact millions. Born in France, Nathalie has lived in the true American dream. After finishing their postmaster degree in Computer Science and Ergonomics, she and her boyfriend, which is now her husband, decided to pack their bags and try their luck in the US. So they just dropped everything in France, left to go to the US, and they landed in the Silicon Valley in California and quickly found a job there. What's amazing is after 10 years of living in a very fun, but what she calls too crazy of a life, we can go into that a little bit. In 2005, after a career in the biotech industry, she left her beautiful place in San Francisco in the mountains. She took her 3 kids. She didn't leave them. She took her 3 kids and her 2 dogs and a cat. And they decided to sell everything, pack their bags, and move back to France to stop the craziness of working the corporate world and to build a new life on their terms. What's amazing about Nathalie is that she was really somebody who worked in a business, not even wired as an entrepreneur, but following her husband and wanting to be a partner and really grow and expand herself. She is now a leading entrepreneur who helps many, many, many incredible leaders, thought leaders, luminaries to build beautiful online programs and memberships to help them impact many, 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 many human beings and souls. So I got to tell you, I've been grateful enough to get to work with Nathalie. And Nathalie, I'm so excited that you're here today. What a gift.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Julie. I'm so excited as well. I can't wait.
Yay. I was like, how do we say welcome? I should know this in French. I was like, bonjour, I could say hello. How do you say welcome in French? Can you just?
Bienvenue.
Bienvenue. Okay, so I can't say it like that. Bienvenue. Welcome in French, in English. Welcome, welcome. I love this story about to me, there's the underlying thread of faith, of trust, of just taking that leap and knowing or hoping or assuming the net was going to be there. And, what I would love to do before we even get into your life in Silicon Valley and then moving back here, I think it's important for people to just get to know you a little bit better and get a sense of you. I know growing up, because I think it's important to hear, I know when we've talked that growing up, it wasn't like you were so supported to go be the successful entrepreneur that you are. And I'm curious, can you just share a little bit, how did you overcome some of those, the stories and how you grew up and how you were raised to get where you are now?
Yeah, so you're already starting with the hard questions.
You know me, girl. I go right there.
I know you. But at the same time, this is how you really helped me and how I got to where I am. So I have to share this for others now. Yeah. So what's really, really the story is as a young little girl, that little girl that we talked about, I was basically invisible. I was not the troubled child. I had a brother and a sister that were doing their own things. And basically nobody was seeing me. Right. I really felt really lonely to the point where my self-esteem was so low. People expected me to do just fine, but not exceptional, but not fail either. I was just doing my own thing to the point where what I realized quite young, I don't know what age, but it feels like it's always been in my mind. I will never be like my parents. And I know that can be tough to hear, but that's not what I want. And I remember, I think I shared this with you. I said, nobody will ever want to marry me anyway, because I'm not pretty enough. I don't know if I will be able to get a job because I'm not that good at school. Turns out I did really, really well. with the right support, right? And I was like, well, I'm going to join the army because the army is going to put a roof over my head. Yeah. It's going to give me food and it's going to tell me what to do. Yeah. And that I know. Tell me what to do and I can do it because that's how I've been raised. Just do the girl doing the thing, right? So, of course, then what happened is I met Olivier, who is now my husband. Totally different life, totally different family. And I realized, well, there is something different that actually exists. And actually, when I left for school, I never moved back. Wow. I never actually moved back to where in the city because I just couldn't. I couldn't go back to that life. So what happened is that what I did not even know was possible because I thought that was just life. That was just, reality, right? Then finally I got a glimpse of what it can be, right? And it's been really, really tough, obviously, you know that. But that gave me hope that there is another way. It doesn't have to be that way. So that's basically how the whole thing started.
Wow. Something you're saying, this is really important. It's kind of like, we don't know what we don't know. You didn't know what you didn't know. And you had these lenses on that had you see the world a certain way. Because I know in getting to know you, just being invisible, not being supported, not being seen, not being encouraged, and assuming, what's ironic, by the way, everyone, Nathalie, you're like brilliant. And it's so funny to me, but how many of us do that? How many of us, and this is what I love about your story. And I'm talking to you, whoever you are listening right now, dear friend, I'm talking to you too. Like you don't realize what's within you. And I think for you, you didn't fully realize what was in you. And it sounds like with Olivier, it was like a new glimpse, a new horizon. And there's that quote, I think it's Jim Rohn, it's something like, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with. And this really illustrates that you saw a whole new world of possibilities that changed your whole view of yourself. Because if someone met you today, I mean, you're running this beautiful, meaningful, heart-centered, thriving, successful business that's of maximum service. I love what you do. I mean, I've gratefully gotten to work with you and I love what you do. I would never, ever have known that. And I think it's important to share that because there's a nugget of that can help others, right? It's like, if you're feeling really stuck in how you see yourself and it's not positive, it's not loving, it's not thriving, find other people that you can start to connect with that could open up the possibilities. So it sounds like that really getting to be with Olivier and his family, that started the shift for you.
Absolutely. It's really what built my confidence. I mean, the first thing I'm just realizing right now, I've never even said that out loud ever, is when my mother-in-law, okay, I'm going to get emotional now.
Yeah.
When my mother-in-law told me what I did for her son, because he was not like the most, serious at school, in the sense like it wasn't too much into school, but we met at school. And then I say, okay, no, we're doing this, we're working, and then we're going to sign up to this school and we're going to do our master and stuff. She said, you would have never done that if you were not there. So that was the first glimpse at, okay, I can actually help someone. I'm good at something maybe, And I'm just realizing that's the first time I'm actually seeing this, but I can remember very vividly, I can see her telling me that. Yeah. If you weren't there, Olivier would probably not be there today because you pushed him. Because I'm a hard worker. I'm like, I know that things are not given to you, right? And so I guess that was the first sign that really gave me the confidence to say, okay, I can actually do something.
Right. Wow. So powerful. Obviously, words, what we're told, what people tell us, what we say to ourselves, so powerful. And it's so beautiful because you can see how that trajectory just shifted, and you were starting to see a new landscape. And, speaking of new landscape, so, okay, you guys are in France, which I don't know. I mean, I love it here, but I don't know why you'd ever leave France. Because I got to tell you, having spent a little time living there in high school, I was like, I've got to get back here. It's beautiful. What? So leaving for California, that took some gumption. That like, what? How did you? What was the impetus? What was the motivation for moving?
So the motivation is, so we went, in our studies, we did a master degree, we got a postmaster degree in ergonomics and mind-machine interaction. I mean, like, really geeky stuff, and realized that the market wasn't ready for what we were, like the companies were not ready. Yeah. So we had an opportunity to go to the US for like the summer. Somebody, would, take us in their home, and we're like, well, and they were in the Silicon Valley. And we say, well, let's just go there trying to find a job. And if we do great, we stay. If we don't, we come back. Worst case, we spend 2 months in the US. Not bad, right? So it's really out of, okay, what do we do now with that diploma that nobody cares about?
Yeah.
And try our luck because there is such a thing as the American dream. Like it's a thing. Like people are like, oh my gosh.
Right.
My mom for like years kept asking me, but do they speak French? It sounds that far to people, right? That unattainable. So when we had the opportunity, we said, well, let's just go there. And then within a month, I found a job in Berkeley. And we got married in Reno, which is the little Las Vegas, right? Yeah. So we went there so that he could stay. And then he got a job right away after that. Wow. And then the rest is 10 years in the Silicon Valley.
Wow. So you guys were there 10 years, right? Probably as the booming was happening, it sounds like.
95 to 2005.
Oh, wow. That is the time to be there. Yeah. So fascinating. So I love it. So you got married with Elvis, then you stayed for 10 years. You had 3 children while you were in California. What made you decide to pack up? So you really did experience the American dream. You really did. What was good about it, and what had you decide, ready to go back?
So what was great about it was the job and the opportunity to being seen for what you do and not the diplomas that you have or who you know. Yeah. Which is something that we very much appreciated. Being able to move up the ladder very quickly. Olivier became director really, really fast. When he got back to France, they were like, you're not 40 years old and you're a director? No way. Just because you have to be a certain age. So, all that stereotype wasn't there, and we really, really appreciated that. And then there is also the French and European community that we met there, because our kids were going to the French school downtown San Francisco. So we got to meet Belgian people, German people, people from Russia, people from all sorts of countries. So we had like our own little family away from home. So.
Wow. And what made you decide, to leave it all, to sell things, to just pack it up and come back?
So, life was great. Job was great, but the commute.
Yeah.
The lack of vacation, honestly. We had I think 2 or 3 weeks, and we would spend 2 weeks in Hawaii, which was amazing. But 2 weeks out of 52 is not enough. Yeah. It's not enough. And we were just getting burned out. Yeah. I fell asleep at the wheel twice.
Oh, wow. Wow. Nathalie.
And had an accident. And one was on a bridge.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So just because I was tired.
Yeah.
So tired of the commute, and things were going too fast, if you will. Yeah. And it's tempting to want to do 2 more and go up the ladder, even in the corporate business. You want more, so you make more money, so you invest. We had the cabin in the mountains. We had quite a few cars. Olivier bought me a BMW for my birthday. That's how far it went. Yeah. And then one day he said, well, we're kind of getting burned out. Do you want to go back home? And I said, yes. Yeah. And that's when we decided. So we were also short story, we were also flipping houses. So we would purchase a house that needed to be renovated, and sometimes it was really, really bad. We would do it all over, from the ground up, everything, and then we would sell it, and then we would purchase another one. And we did that even until the end. Before we got back, we sold it when we were in France. So I was like 7 months pregnant and still working on that last house to really gather enough money so that when we sell everything, we have a big lump sum of money so we can move and invest in the business.
Wow. That's so cool how you guys just took your gifts and your skills and really lived the American dream here. But also tuned in when it was just, sounds like, hey, I think one of the back-ended gifts of this pandemic has been slowing down the pacing. And so it sounds like the wake-up call was good. Thank God, thankfully you're okay, because falling asleep in the car on a bridge is not a good recipe. That's not, typically does not end well. And so it sounds like that was the wake up to get you back here. So getting back here, what's amazing to me is so if you're listening and you're into this whole entrepreneurial thing, even if you're not, there are all these different assessments where we can kind of get a sense of our innate traits and wiring and how we are, in a way put together to best serve and best utilize our gifts and skills in the workplace. And so there's this great assessment called Kolbe. That's one that assesses if you're entrepreneurial, if you're not. There's a bunch of different assessments. The human design can give you a sense of that. But I know we talked before, Nathalie, I was like, wait, you're what? Like your numbers are like not entrepreneurial. Your design is not. I always laugh because mine is off the charts. And I'm like, how did I miss this? Like, what was I thinking working? I'm grateful for my job, but like, what the heck? No wonder it was so hard for me to come to the same office every day. But you aren't wired like that. How did you, I've worked with you, like, it's amazing. You don't come across that way. So just to share with people, because I think it's a beautiful story about learning to be creative, learning and shifting how to expand yourself, even when you're not comfortable, to get out of your comfort zone. So tell us how did you get to France, start your business, and like rewire yourself basically?
So basically what happened is when we got back, I always knew that like my husband wanted to start his own business. Okay. He's a visionary. He has 10 ideas a day. He's like, he's a creative, right? I am not at all. And so when he said he wanted to create his business, he said, well, it's an opportunity to do that, right? And I'm like, well, I'm just going to be the little employee behind the husband. And I trusted him 100% that he would make it. I had no doubt. I was like, he's so good. It's like, he so wants to do this. I'm just going to be doing the little things that he needs me to do to make it work. And let me tell you, that didn't go very well. In fact, he didn't fire me once. He fired me twice. Because I was acting like an employee and he really wanted a partner. Wow. So that's been a really, really difficult time. It went on for several years before we used up all our money, because that's the thing. We had money, so we thought we had time and we knew what we needed and we were focusing on what we knew how to do instead of trying to understand what that being an entrepreneur entails. And then the way it really started is when we realized that we needed help. We had our back against the wall. And we're like, okay, we have to figure out where we need help and we need to get the help. Because being an entrepreneur is not about learning to do all the things. It's being really, really clear about knowing yourself and knowing what you're good at and getting help for the rest. Because you will never be good at everything. You will never be. So when we realized that, one key event that happened is we were running out of money. And it was getting, complicated to invest in things because nothing was working, buying things here and there and hoping for something to work. And then there is this course that's coming up. And I'm like, it's $2,000, is it going to be the same thing? It's never going to work. And there is this opportunity to win a scholarship. And to do the scholarship, you have to record a video of yourself explaining what you're trying to do, what is your vision, and why you should get the scholarship. So I get into my bedroom. Olivier tells me later he hears crying and da-da-da-da-da. He didn't know I was doing that. And I told myself, I'm going to take the camera. I'm going to record the video. And if it sucks, I'll delete it. Nobody will never know. But if it's good enough, I'm going to post it on YouTube and we'll see. And I did that and I posted it. And that video is still there right now in YouTube. And I want to leave it there because I want to remember where I come from. Yeah. And I'm sharing it with people. I mean, I don't like to see it because I think I make a fool of myself. I dance and I sing. But I did it. That was in 2013. Okay. My husband saw that. And he said, you know what? Whether you get the scholarship or not, we are spending the money. Because you showed me that you are ready to do something to put yourself way out of your comfort zone. Yeah. And you deserve the help.
Wow. Wow. Beautiful. Did you get the scholarship? I have to know. No, and it didn't matter. That's the whole, that's the best thing about it is it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter. I worked so hard. I built that network of people that I'm still around with today that are amazing people. Some of these people got me huge clients working with people like Melanie Duncan and James Wedmore. And it all comes from this course where I worked really hard to build these relationships. And the course was paid off, very quickly, just from getting started. Yeah. But the commitment was totally there because I was like, okay. And again, the fact that somebody trusts me and shows me that, it's very empowering. And that's why I shared with you the flowers today. There are flowers behind me. You guys can't see it, but there are flowers.
If you're watching YouTube, you'll see it. Otherwise, we're going to tell you, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
And basically it's, so it's going to be, it's been this series of events where I've pushed myself. And when you get to the other side, it's just amazing.
Wow. Wow. I love this story and I love the wisdom here to push yourself out of your comfort zone too. I mean, that was not comfortable to make that video and you did it anyhow. And it's so important. And it's really, to me, it's like, reminds me of that quote about taking action on faith, like just getting fully behind what you're doing and taking action and putting that commitment behind it. And even if it's uncomfortable, because I mean, now look, with what you're doing, it's just morphed and grown and expanded. I am curious because I know something that we have talked about before is just this idea of really connecting to, I think given what you grew up with, connecting to your heart, connecting to yourself, that aspect of self-connection, and curious how that's grown and shifted over time, especially when you came from not being seen to a place where you're really able to be seen and to serve. Like, maybe tell us what's helped you.
Yeah. So, I mean, for years I've been hiding this under the rug. Okay. And but like many things, it's only going to get you to a certain point. Yeah. And again, it's going back to surrounding yourself with the people that can support you. And for that was you. That was you saying, okay, we have to talk about the little girl. We have to. Yeah. Okay. And actually and I didn't want to because it was painful. Yeah. But actually it was not as painful that I thought as I thought. And in the process, it's changed so many things, not only in my personal life, but in business, but things like right now I'm saying, well, my dad, he did what he could with what he had at the time. Yeah. I've completely forgiven everything. Right? I'm not angry anymore. Right? There are other things that I should be focusing on. And it's like that in business as well. I fired a client, was it a week or 2 weeks ago, right? I think I told you. Yeah. And then the minute I did, I felt the relief. And I was like, okay, now I can focus on the people that actually want to work with me and do value my time and my expertise, right? So these decisions that you have to do, things always come up. they don't come up less, but I handle them very differently. Because I take the time, you know, like the mirror exercise, the eye exercise is really important to me. I also have, you know, I start to have these habits, you know, this little routine in the morning, which I've been struggling for years to get that. Okay. But they really are really like a habit, something that I do. And if I don't do it, I see that something is missing. Oh, I haven't done that. I have to go back and do that. I always have my journal here. When I have a minute, I write something down. And so it's really through like working through, again, getting to know yourself and operating from that place of gratitude, which is something that I think I told you this. It's like I was associating being visible with being arrogant and wanting to be out there. When you shift that to being visible, to being more supportive to the people, then it totally changes the way the way you show up, right? So that's why all the change, you know, we did the online shopping together. I bought like 3 dresses, 6 stuffs. Like I bought a ton of stuff, and I show up totally differently now that some of the videos that are out there, even on YouTube, but I'm going to leave them. Yeah. Because if you only leave the thing right now, then you don't see, and people don't get to see. Yeah. That it's a progress, right? You have to start somewhere.
I love that about you, Nathalie. It's just this willingness to grow and evolve. And you know what you were talking about for, you know, as those that are listening in, one of the things that you were saying is, you know, we looked at like, and you were talking about what ways, if you're out there, and love what you said first. Let me say this, the shifting of, when I'm out there, it's actually the opposite of arrogance. It's all where you're coming from, but coming from impact, service, helping, like it's hard not to be out there, because especially if you have that servant heart, that heart of wanting to help, you've got to be, and that's what you've been doing. And so then getting that there are certain colors or ways, you know, things around you that can make you feel more in alignment with your higher self, your best self. And it's amazing. I've been watching this transformation happen before my eyes. And, you know, I think for those tuning in, it's like, it wasn't, if you see you now, like it's been a process to get here. And I love what you said about connecting back to that little girl, that part of you that had been abandoned, that had been not as welcomed in for what, you know, the different reasons, and how when you become integrated and when you start to realize you're worthy just because you're worthy, you show up different. And I know your business has really grown.
Oh yeah, it's the ripple effect. It's knowing that the giving and the gratitude, it's going to come up. Maybe not where you sent it, but it's going to come up in different forms. I think that one of the big shifts that happened is also, and my husband was telling me this, but it's never as powerful, you know, when your husband tells you than when somebody else tells you. But it's like, stop playing the victim. Yeah. Okay. Your past doesn't have to define your present or your future. So don't use that as an excuse to say, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. Like, you know, it's like, use it as a strength. You know, what did you learn during that process that made me resilient? You know, when I did this course in 2013, there was this survey that you could send to your friends and your family to ask them what they think about you. And I was so scared to do it. And what I saw was the most beautiful things. It's like your resilience, like you never give up. You're like, and I was totally not seeing this for myself. So this is an amazing exercise, by the way. If you want to build your confidence, ask your family, and if you have children, ask your kids what they think about you. Oh, that's a huge boost, I'm telling you.
I love that. I'm going to add that in the show notes, to do like your own little internal survey. That's so, and you got that mirror reflected back to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's amazing. I love what you just said. Do not, this is really, really, really important. Do not let your past define your present or your future. And you said, you know, use it, like learn from it and use those things that experiences you've gone through as strengths, as learning, and to help you create what you want in the present and the future. But I love that. You know, you can't hear, I don't think anyone can hear that enough. Like what happened in the past, even like yesterday or last month, doesn't have to define anything about today and tomorrow. And you've really, that's another thing I just so acknowledge about you is your willingness to grow and be open and learn and be uncomfortable and put yourself out there. And I think that's it's a gift and it's a real message for all of us. And coming from that place of service.
Yeah. But what I would say is that it felt a lot of time that was just a way. This is just who I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I realized that when you surround yourself with the people that can actually help you, there are people that do that.
Yeah.
You know, like you did this, for example, for me, right? So there are people that do that. So it's like, I really can see myself now where I was putting myself in the position of a victim.
Yeah.
Well, this happened to me, you know, and, you know, like, no, this happened for me, right? This is what defined who I am right now. That's why I'm so resilient. That's why I don't give up on certain things. That's also why fairness, like when somebody is not treated fairly, that's something that can totally make me cry right now.
Yeah.
It's like, that's something that I cannot stand.
Yeah.
If one of my children cries for any reason, that makes me cry. That's something those are things that are part of because it's part of my past. I used to cry a lot. And also that safety, you know, you were talking about the Colby, right? I am 2 for an entrepreneur, 2 out of 10. That gives you an idea. Okay, I'm a 2. I'm not wired like that, but I'm surrounding myself with people that can help me with the vision, right? And Olivier, who is my business partner, it has the vision, and then we complement each other. Now that we know exactly how we're both wired very differently, then it becomes a synergy.
Love it. Yeah. And this is great wisdom. If you don't, I'm thinking if you're listening and you don't have a partner, spouse, significant other that works with you, find somebody either as a partner or to bounce off of that's opposite or has the different strengths. Oh yeah.
And you need different people. I have right now, I have 3 different people for different things that I bouncing with, we're bouncing with each other. Like we call ourselves ABs, accountability buddies, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one, I've been with her we've been together for like over 2 years. And I have one, where, we maybe almost a year already, right? And another one was more recent, and she's actually exactly wired like me. So, and I'm like, and right now sometimes she's stuck in a certain level. So we talk and like, we're kind of like supporting each other in our very right brain way.
Right.
So, and it's so important to surround yourself with people. It doesn't have to be your husband or things like that, but it's got to be people that understand where you're coming from and that can support you. So,
yeah. Well, I just so acknowledge, adore, and love your You-est You, who you have chosen to become and how you fully self-express. Before we wrap, last question, Nathalie. I know you've really expanded your reach with whom you're helping, and just for those listening who this might be a good fit or interested, maybe share a little bit how you see kind of like the legacy you want to leave, or how you want to grow what you're doing and why that's so important to you and why that's important for the world.
Yeah. So, this is one thing that I've been working on. My husband's been telling me for years, what do you want to do? And I always felt if I say something and it hasn't happened yet, it's very arrogant. It's like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. Oh, I want to save the world. I want to impact millions. Oh, that's very arrogant. How are you going to do that? I used to think that way. So I would always say, I don't know what I want to do. And what I realized through the years that have passed and working with you is behind what I really want is I want to empower women to show them that there is a way to be an entrepreneur and to achieve financial stability and to work from home. Because financial stability, which is something I really didn't have when I was younger, is something that I've always tried. That's why being an entrepreneur was scaring me. That's why I help people build recurring revenues. That's why when people work with me, there is a membership with recurring revenue that they are invited to, because I thrive in knowing that I have those recurring revenues, and that's what I want to empower women to do. I truly believe that we all have at least one membership idea inside of us, because we are all moms, sisters, partners, daughters. We all learn something that other people can benefit from. We all. So it's possible. So that's kind of like the people that I seem to attract, is people that are like, okay, how can I create this for myself and for my family? It's really building a business around your lifestyle.
It's beautiful. So beautiful. And I love the other piece of what you're saying. I love that everyone has one membership idea within them, that when membership, so those that are less familiar, membership is an ongoing community. It's a monthly typical, it could be a yearly subscription. But what I love, I'm part of them. I have one. It's community, it's connection, it's service. It's like, we don't stay in our silos. We get to be part of something bigger. I mean, I'm obsessed with them because
I use the word membership because that's the word being used to people that are already aware of what it is. But essentially the idea is to use the online space to impact many more people. So anybody that's working offline, that has a brick and mortar, or that has a practice, and that thinks that they can only help people one-on-one when they come to the practice, that's not true. There is a way to support people in a different capacity where you're not limited in the number of people you can help. It's limitless online.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Therefore, the impact is limitless. Therefore, the income is big.
Yeah, impact and income is limitless. That's the cross section we want.
And if you do it right and it's automated, it's scalable, meaning that whether you impact 10,000 or 10,000 people, it's not more work for you, because it's leveraging your time. It's not one-on-one work. It's not you working towards, with your calendar. It's not you trading time for money. So you provide value in a different capacity. So that's what's scalable. I'm all about scalability and automation and things like that, right? That's my core,
Yes, I love it. Well,
side.
and we should say a quick thank you. We met through a beautiful community membership through Bold Heart, and with Fabienne, and so thankful because that brought us together. And I love what you're doing. Thank you. You've helped me and my Sacredology community, which is growing, and just so many beautiful souls. I love that the impact is limitless, and the income is limitless, and I love how those go together. It's synergistic. You are such you're just a shining example with the most amazing accent, Nathalie. I'm so grateful for who you are in my life and who you are in so many of our lives, for what you're doing and how you are stepping forth, especially in wanting to support more women to be financially secure and also to have greater impact, leverage their time and be more profitable. And you're doing it. And I know it's not been easy, and I just appreciate you sharing your heart. You're amazing.
Thank you so much, Shirley, for having me.
Yay.